you know that thing of like when a guy comes to you and they're trying to sleep together and you're like, no.
Let's make a fuss.
Yeah, no. But really, like, you want it. That conception, that chase type thing. And it's almost like it's a dance that you're taught to do, that like, oh, don't give it up
the
easy.
Phrase, playing hard to get. To get what?
What?
Am I a purchase?
Apparently.
Why is someone getting me? Why is someone getting
me? Yeah.
Why is someone getting me?
Because that's how they've socialized you now. Like, you can't just give it easily.
No. You can't. You're giving.
You're giving. For free? Hello. Welcome back to Sankasa Podcast. I'm Rowena Tanika. Call me what you want.
And I'm Tanika Sam. Call me what you want.
And today we have some guests with us. Clap for yourselves.
Why not? We exist. We are here.
Exactly.
That's celebration enough.
So to my side, this is Michela. Or is it Michela?
Actually, Michela.
That's what I said. And people are like, it's Michela. I'm like, no, it's Michela.
Michela.
Okay.
Michela.
Sorry. This is Michela. She's
Kella,
activist.
Michela.
Oh, y'all. Okay. Michela.
We get it right around here.
Yeah, yeah, of course. This is Michela. She is an activist. She is one of the founders of Drama Queen.
Co-directors.
Okay. Co-directors. That's
She's
right.
a force to be reckoned with, and she'll
Continue.
Yeah, she'll continue for me because clearly I'm not on it today.
Yeah, my name is Michela. My pronouns are she, her. I currently work with the Drama Queens team as one of their co-directors, but that's not important, Sha. What's important is that I live in Accra. I don't come from Kaswa. I live in Kaswa, which is a weird thing to be claiming, but I like it. Or I'm forcing myself to like it because it has, if not anything, given me a lot of perspective on identity and class and just existing. And also, it gives me things to be angry at the government about. And we love an angry feminist over here. So,
Love
yeah.
that.
Sure do.
Love that. And next to her is Kuukua. They're a curator. They're an artist.
Just curator. I'm just a curator.
Babe, I swear you told me you're an artist the first time I met you. You were
Never
doing
been
a
an artist.
residency.
But then,
Yeah, as a curator.
but isn't like curating a form of art?
In a way, yes. But then also...
Charlie, they said they're cute.
Can't call you anymore.
Because all I do is just
They are what they are.
Oh, okay. I swear someone told me you're an artist. Whether you or someone else told me you're an artist. But anyway, they're not an artist.
Illustrious curator.
Continue for us.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
So
a
I'm an independent curator. The focus of my practice is on decolonial ideas of world making and alternative queer ideologies.
Okay.
Love it.
I too like the colonial thing, so
Yeah.
like I should have added that.
We too like the colonial thing.
Yeah, about matters of society
Yeah.
and how to move forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, of
Okay.
course. Okay. So we're really excited you guys are with us today.
Yes, I
actually.
think we're going to yap today once we
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah, we've been yapping already.
A good yap set.
A good
Yeah.
yap set,
Yeah.
yes. Or real yap.
You're in the mood to yap. What do you want to
I've
yap
been quiet for
about?
weeks.
You're ready to unleash.
Ready
to
Yeah. What were we yapping about today? Oh, we actually were kind of having this conversation before we started. And today basically the theme is like misconceptions, basically. As Kuukua and Michela work very hard in the queer space, we're kind of dispelling misconceptions, I guess, or like prejudices that people might hold and like what they mean and how does that translate basically and how they act and all of those things. So yeah, where do we start?
Where do we want to start? I guess if you guys could give us a very brief background into how you got into that kind of work. You know, you talked about alternative queer ideologies you are essentially a radical feminist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's how I am.
how did you get into that work, and like, let's tap into the nuances of Ghana society, etc.
Okay. How did I start doing gay shit?
Period.
I think on a work level, work type thing, it was in maybe 2018. The collective I work with, Drama Queens, they had, or at the time, they were running a filmmaking workshop, right? So it was the Queer University filmmaking workshop. They had done it the year before. And then I was in a very, oh my God, I'm such a sad human being phase of my life. And it was just really nice following this account on the socials, fighting with everybody that'll come and see things that, like myths, right? Basically fighting myths and creating content that dispelled myths. And so at the time, I didn't have any interest in actually making film or creating content or producing as I do now. And I was like, I want to go where the gay people are, but I don't have an interest in film. So I just like sent them a DM saying, so I can't apply, or I'm not applying to be a fellow, but I would really like it if I could like volunteer with the workshop. And so I did. And then I go to the workshop. Also, okay, I go to the workshop, and then everybody just really warm and kind and respectful of boundaries, which really stuck with me because as a Ghanaian girl or someone that is socialized as a girl in Ghana, you are not really taught to appreciate boundaries, or rather, your boundaries you're not socialized with your boundaries being respected, right? So people are constantly giving you hugs, demanding your time, scheduling your life for you, around you. It was just very nice to enter a place with people that I didn't know, but who I looked up to in the point, because like these are facilitators. Like I don't like cool people, right? Cool kids. And then they are so respectful of my boundaries. That was really great. That's how I got into it. But then there's all of these resources, right? There's all of these resources around what organizing is like, what it means to organize, what queer people in Ghana, or how queer people in Ghana are organizing by themselves. Because there's also that notion that, was even a notion, like we've been here, right? And we've known about each other in here, and we've done things together. And it's like playing football, watching movies, building relationships. Like we've literally communicated and communed with each other. So it's very cool for me to have resources into how that happened and to be able to contribute to that movement or to that community. And it's how I began.
Okay.
Awesome.
Kuukua.
For me, when I got into curating, basically I had to like now, figure out what artists are doing. And all the artists who were around me at the time were queer or making queer themed arts. So I started from that point. But then, and also being a queer person myself, it was also easy for me because talking about queerness, like I think it was just the easiest thing.
Lived
for me.
experience.
Yeah, so I was just dealing with it. But then came, the research part, which is like the part of the curating. And then the more you get into it, like what advices that work, especially like in the African context, you realize like even in our history, like queerness only being demonized is like a very recent thing, like after, like say 20th century. Like if you go beyond the 20th century, like queer people were very much living their lives. Like the stories of queer people were very much accepted. Like even like we have traditions. Like if you look at it now, like this, you said this is a very queer culture being exhibited here, but it was very much okay. So I thought about it and I'm like, hey, hold on, why do we have this disparity? Oh, colonialism. Huh. Okay.
Then what
Then
people?
I want to look at the African world outside of colonial manipulation or like any of it from the white man. And from that point to now, especially like, like the queer part of it. So basically I'm looking like the colonial world making and queer alternate realities. Besides coming from queer people. And I think so far so good. It's been great because there are always queer people to work with. And there are always queer stories to tell.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Queer stories to tell.
Yeah. And it must be nice to see like everyone else's individual like narratives of their queer stories even happening within the same like ecosystem as well. Like what's the most interesting or like unique perspectives that like you found that maybe you hadn't touched on yourself or like seen yourself?
I think it would be how I- specifically ideas of masculinity in of itself it's presented like how masculinity was presented like before say like the 20th century. Like there are things that were even like let me say specifically for men, only men are supposed to do it. But then also, if you look at it now, it was just a very queer expression. And I think a classical example would be what's the name for it? The drama, the traveling theaters.
No.
So you know we used to have like especially
Like
like
concert
the
party type
yeah the
stuff.
concert
Yeah.
parties yes. But at the time, you see, all the people actors were only men.
Yeah,
were
it was
allowed to
exclusively
be
male
actors.
troops.
And
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then when you go for the show, you see the actors,
Oh,
men
yeah,
and
I
women.
don't know where I saw that, but I know
Yes.
it's
So the
Yeah.
men
that's-
play women.
women,
characters.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now these are men in drag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was very normalized.
Yeah.
And there are now, like, in my research, I'm finding out stories of actors who were specifically, they only play women roles.
Mm.
Now those are drag queens. So I'm like, you know.
It's been happening.
But now, I think even now, it's
I feel like it's
kind of
like a resurgence.
yeah, like
of
with the
sorts.
TikTok,
Yes.
yeah, like
Yes.
a lot of content creators now choosing to present as feminine, which is kind of weird to me in a way. Because
Like, is are African parents only funny when they are women? But I feel like that's a different like conversation. I'll move us from this one. But me, I
Yeah.
want to have that one. I totally see and acknowledge the queerness of cross-dressing or drag in
Yeah.
performance. I totally acknowledge that. But I think it's also worth noting that there is a level of misogyny in some of the portrayals and
Caricaturizing
yes,
type.
the portrayals and that word, the portrayals of women in
Yeah.
comedy and in media, right? Because like it doesn't need to be ridiculous to be funny.
Yeah.
Tell your joke and what like yeah, but yeah.
Tell your
Yeah.
joke and move.
I think
so that's what I was saying. Like it's weird. Like now, the phenomenon now is just weird because all these men are playing women characters basically, and then they're just making it like in very comedic, way. It's not even satire, which you could really say like, oh, like there's intellectual. Like it's just plain as misogyny.
Yeah.
But like when you look at it from like the concert parties, like they were literally playing actual women characters, like based on like well written scripts. So like you see, like the very story of the woman, but it's being played by the man. And everybody was normalized. Like there are actors who are known to play women characters only, became popular as they traveled all around. Very much nice. Everybody didn't have a problem with that.
I think that's
Sorry.
I think there's also like a policing of self-expression and the way that forces creators that want to do content in drag to only do slapstick comedy, right?
Yeah.
And so it should be okay because it is okay to express yourself using women's clothing and to use self-expressions that are usually attributed to like women. But you shouldn't feel or you shouldn't think that the only way to do this is when you are ridiculing womanhood, right? I think that's
I
where
love
the thing
this
is.
conversation, and I want us to double back to it because I want us to set a foundation, right? Because Ghana, I don't think that, because I feel like when I think of that type of stuff, I'm like, okay, then that's a society that at the very least has some tolerance towards queerness to an extent, like not just on social media, but in real life. But with Ghana, the tolerance to me is not necessarily tolerance. It's more like you J your eyes type. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a tolerance that is maybe intrinsic to the person, but it's more so like they don't want to be part or like they don't want to know, or Ghanaians will pretend something doesn't exist. Ghanaians can be very non-confrontational, and so I kind of want you guys to touch more on like this, what you were saying, the sort of history, like the foundation of how like it's a completely warped society that we live in now. Because like you said, our African history does not or did not instill a sense of violence or discrimination against queer people, right? But now it does because of colonialism, because of westernization. And we now live in a predominantly Christian society, which has essentially, brainwashed our people into being violent towards their people, right? It's like very typical Western tactic, divide and conquer. And it's through different societal factors, whether it's queerness, whether it's misogyny, like you said. So basically the patriarchy, dismantling everything. And yeah, I just want us to talk more about that and kind of, because there's people watching. Like, I want people to understand why this is wrong and like why we shouldn't not be talking about it. Like why it's like watching Hairspray and realizing, oh shit, actually, like these are social issues that I should care about. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the floor is yours.
Where do we start from? I actually like that point as a starting point because a theory or a train of thought that has helped me conceptualize this is also language and concepts. And one of those is the language and concepts of family, right? And so it's a very colonial way of thinking to expect your family to be mother, father, two children. That structure of nuclearism is very colonial, and that's exists in opposition to how Ghanaian cultural systems exist,
like
right?
collectivist society.
Exactly, we are collectivists, but also there's often the chance that when you live in a home, and it's not just you and your father and your mother, it's you, your grandmother, your grandaunt, there's uncles, there's cousins, all of that. And oftentimes we were forced to fit within these boxes so that we could be counted, we could be accounted for, censuses and stuff like that. Is this censuses?
Yeah, censuses.
Yeah, censuses.
Sensei.
So that's one of the very subliminal remnants of colonialism and neoliberation that we do not identify or realize as having an import on how we organize and existed on a familial level, but which really has an impact on how we organize our families now, right? So like you're saying about how gender non-conforming people or people that didn't exist within male and female genders have always existed and have existed within family structures, that would no longer exist when you have to categorize your entire family into mother, father, children, brother,
binary,
sister, right? So then how do you explain that person that has been with you your whole life, not taking care of you your whole life, who is neither your mother or your father, but has existed with you and has like taken care of you from your child up until now? Which role do you give that person? So it's really a thing about languages. It's also a thing about wanting to categorize people by we don't say language again, but by labels
Like descriptors.
Yeah, descriptors and like labels that are retrieved from colonial systems of organizing when our familial and social cultural systems of organizing just can't fit within those structures because they are just not like that.
Yeah.
Right? There's multiple mothers, there's multiple children, there's multiple levels of children, right?
Because your mother's, for example,
Your mother's sister is still your mother.
your mother's sister
She's
is
not
your
your
mother.
aunt.
Your mother's mother is your father.
Your cousin, your first cousin is your sister or your
Yes.
brother,
Yes.
not your cousin. Cousins
Yes.
are like third, fourth removed sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Because now I live with my cousin, and technically he's my uncle.
Yeah.
Technically he's my uncle, and I'm older than him.
Yeah, I grew up with my cousin, and for the longest time, I thought we were twins.
Wow. Yeah.
But like with different mothers, like when I was younger, because they dress us the same.
Same, yeah.
Our parents, like my mom nursed her, my auntie nursed me. Like we were twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have two mothers.
You have two mothers.
Yeah.
You guys are
yeah.
siblings now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twins.
That's it.
But I think when you come from that point, right? When you think about it, like even like the gender binary in itself, like right now there's this, especially if you look at the bill, which is specifying that we only have man and woman, male and female. Like it's just so funny. Like, but we've always had people who have never fit in these categories, or who are in different categories but present in other categories. So where do they go?
Yeah.
And like as you mentioned, like Kojo Bessie, we had time for people like that, like effeminate people like Kojo Bessie, like it was there. We could describe them. We had names for them. We lived with them. But now it has become a slur. So now it is wrong to not. It is wrong to not be on one side of the binary. But what if you are not part of the binary?
Yeah. You're not part of the binary.
You're not part of the
Also, the
binary.
binary
You don't-
doesn't even exist, right? It's
It
a
doesn't even
manufactured fallacy. It exists because it's easy to use, and then people often say that biology, but
The
then
premise being gender or sex.
Both,
sex,
actually.
both.
Mm.
Actually,
Interesting.
Both
Can
sex
we-
and gender are.
Can we take a minute to clarify for people who don't know the differences when we're having these conversations between gender and sex? Because I
Okay.
feel like that's one big misconception that people tie together in when they prejudice people.
Yeah.
Oh, if you say, okay, let's do that.
Sit up.
We're in school now.
So that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not binary. What people often refer to as like male or female or man and woman is a reference to sex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that isn't binary, but that's like 2.202 class.
Yeah,
It's coming
that's
to 102 or 101.
101.
Yeah. And so but I like the 202.
You
No,
guys
we
are
get
too
there.
old
You're
too.
setting the
Let's
premise.
just go
Yeah.
into it. The girls who get it are gonna get it.
So oftentimes people like to say that, but then biology is male and female, right? It actually isn't, right? So we use classifiers XX and XY chromosomes for male and female as a binary because that is simpler to explain. But then the human experience isn't a solely XXXY thing. There are people that just generally have XXX, XXY, different iterations of these
Or
chromosomes.
even
and
the
then
expression of XX and XY varies so differently across
exactly,
the board.
it varies so differently, and it's not even like a physical variation. It's just like on a hormonal level, and so they would still present as one sex marker or another.
All that happens right within the confines, like it all happens. It's funny how like it all happens within the confines of the patriarchy itself, where there's just like the man is at the top and everyone else is down at the bottom. Like all these expressions happen one way or the other, and it still has to fit that like that hierarchy in a way.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people don't really sit down to think much about it, like especially think about how they were raised. Because for me, for instance, I think one of the reasons why my life has just been, let me say, crazy or like always been different is because my upbringing was very, very different. And because so growing up with my mom and dad, there were no gender rules or like there were no specific rules. Everything is divided by your age, right? So if you are 6, you're helping out in the kitchen. You are 8, you have to wash all the utensils. You are 12, you are sweeping. You are 15, you do laundry. We had that was how roles were divided. After my mom died when I was 8. And then that is when I had the sentiment. My grandma tried to take us from her. Because she says, being in Shemofra. Men don't take care of children.
Yeah.
So my grandma was like, she's the mother, like we should take her. But my dad fought her to still have control over us. And then I go to high school, and then I go to live with my grandma. And that is when I learned that, oh no, you know what? Men do this and women do that. And I'm just there and I'm like,
Oh wow!
This is a thing.
I was like, I think the first time was when I was sweeping, and then this girl comes like in the house, like she just comes and sees us like, oh no, men are not supposed to sweep. And that's when I'm like, I swept in my house every day. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, my dad would literally call me to go and sweep, like, okay.
Yeah.
So when I was telling him, like, and this is I think something that affected me. I hate doing laundry. I never learned how to do laundry till I went to uni. Because in my grandma's house, men don't do laundry. So I never got to do laundry. And I think it was something that I think it didn't affect me very, very well. Because one time I went to uni and I didn't do laundry till I came back home.
Hey, Jesus.
An entire 3 months of getting new clothes and listen,
just avoiding having to deal with it.
and then just packing it all up and then just coming to drop it at home. Boom. And then my aunties just washed everything.
But you mentioned patriarchy earlier, and I think that's one of the things that explain or lead to a lot of homophobia that we don't realize, because there is a hierarchy of who the best kind of human being is, and women are not there. They're not at the top of that hierarchy. So why would you, as a human being that God has blessed you to be a man, get up and say you want to wear a dress?
Exactly.
And why are you, as they have put you at the bottom of the food chain, saying that you, dear, you want to wear trousers and date another woman? You get?
You want to do the things that the people at the top do.
That's the real tea. That's why they're mad.
That's why they're mad. Like, because they'll say stuff like, hey, have you, like, you see, like, hey, you see women, and then you decide to date a fellow man, stuff like that. And then people be like, like, literally, right? We see women, that is why we're dating women. Like, have you seen women, right? And it's like, don't do that. It's like the man's role to own a woman, right?
Objectification.
So, exactly. There's also objectification in there as well.
Ooh, and that even reminds me, like that thing where whenever you talk about like being like, especially like you talk about like gayness, and then people just go to sex. Like, when I said that, just where like people were like, oh, so you're letting another man sleep with you?
Yeah,
like,
it's never so you're sleeping with another man. It's always so you're letting another man sleep with you. Like, say it again. Your own was
Honestly,
more
impactful.
Was more accurate.
Let me say how they into yeah do talk. Like, you know, like that's like that's thing. And I was like, and then like it makes me like you think about it, like, you know, like a lot of like sex in itself, like even like in cisgendered conversations. Like,
Yo, this conversation can go for 5
it is.
hours.
Oh my god! Made to think like how like it's like a thing the man takes from the
a woman or does to the woman. And even in pop culture, how we talk about it, I bang out.
Yeah.
I smash them.
The UK have the we beat. Like, I beat her.
Yeah.
Which
and
I'm just, that's so violent.
Right?
Yeah.
Gasmila has a song literally where he says, I take my 3 points.
But I'm sorry, can I just say the all of that, and yet when it comes to the classification or the vilification of rape, suddenly it becomes a whole nuanced affair. Like, oh, was it penetration? Like, what was she wearing? Like, what was the this, that? It's like, but look at all the verbiage that you have for what you people consider like consensual sex. Like, I beat him, I smash him, I knock him, and not I take him. Like, oh, so you know, like, you understand the concept that it can be violent, but then when it does become violent and they're saying, then you're like, no, but we have to understand, you know, innocence until proven guilty. It's like, anyway, yes?
I think that happens because we've normalized a lot of things. And a lot of people have not decided to sit down and think about the life that we live, like, or like, you know, because you say these things. Because you grew up learning or hearing other people say these things. So this is what you know about living. Yeah. But then when it comes to the other parts where we need to interrogate stuff, then everybody starts to pull away or like find excuses. Yeah. Because we literally have these like language of violence when we talk about sex. But the moment you have to talk about rape, like all of a sudden, hey, no. We have to take our time. We have to go through this, blah, blah, blah. You know, like all that stuff. Like,
I think it also starts from like the point like women are socialized into sex as well, because like one thing that is like, you know, that thing of like when a guy comes to you and they're trying to sleep together and you're like, no,
let's make a fuss.
No, but really like you want it, that conception, that chase type thing, and it's almost like it's a dance that you're taught to do, that like, oh, don't give it up easy.
Phrase, playing hard to get. To get what? What? Am I a purchase?
Apparently.
Why is someone getting me? Why is someone getting
me? Yeah.
Why is someone getting me?
Because that's how they've socialized you now. Like, you can't just give it easily.
No. You can't.
You're giving. For free?
But then again,
but there's so much nuance to that too. There's so much nuance to that too.
Now,
wait, say that again?
Yeah, if you decide to not give it out for free, then that's a different level of
exactly. That's
right?
another.
Like you have passed the level of badness. Hell's corner is your own.
But I really like what you said about society, us not sitting down to think about the world we live in and like how we got to where we got to, because that's all I think about. Like, it's crazy to me how once your brain has developed, you don't sit down to think about and for me, I think it's because, unfortunately, and we had an episode yesterday talking about spirituality and religion and things like that, and this is not to lambast religion because I know that's very, very sensitive, but I do want to like touch on the fact that religion is the opium of the masses and a form of control. And I feel like the vilification of queerness in Ghana stems pretty much from religion.
I mean, they do say like, what was it? Teaching traditional, and it's like, quote, not said, but said Christian values.
And also the concept of God, a man, the literal highest supreme being, is branded as a man.
Babe.
What do we expect?
But the thing is, it's not like in our traditional...
In Christianity, which is the predominant religion in Ghana.
But
So like I have like a very good example. Right? So the gods refer to God or the Lord as Atanan, so like Father, Mother, God.
Yeah,
I
the
think that's
Ewes
really
is
nice.
Mawulisa. They actually think of her as a woman most times.
And so like a lot of indigenous religions, right? When you look at the hierarchy of their gods,
It's always
there's
it's
always
more
a mother
matriarchal
at the top.
than
No, there's a lot of patriarchal, but like when you look at indigenous religions, which one comes to mind now? I don't want to lie.
No,
Yeah,
like,
don't lie.
But
Go and read about it.
yeah.
If you actually look around, right, especially, and that's what I'm taking in Ghana specifically. Me, from it's basically what I've learned from like the Hunter region, right? A lot of the deities, gods, traditional spirits, whatever people worship or know over there, are mostly women.
Mm.
And I thought about it, and I thought about how Mami Waters are demonized. Right?
Right.
And I was like, why is it that all our gods are women, but somehow
They get a bad.
they get a bad rep, and the manly god is the one that gets the good rep.
The one that everyone wants to follow.
Like,
Meanwhile,
opinions.
he's violent as hell.
Crazy.
Like-
Please don't come for me. Oh. I'm not part of your religion.
But again, hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
Right. So all forms of imagery, pop culture.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we don't realize that religion is pop culture for many people, and at a point in time was the pop culture. So the way you get people to believe in something or to understand something or ascribe to a train of thought is to put it into pop culture. And the one way, or one of the ways, actually it's very logical, it makes a lot of sense to me. We want everyone to think that men are better than women. What best way than to make the most powerful being in the world a man?
A man, exactly. Yeah. And there's a book by Yuval Noah, I'm sure, Sapiens.
Oh,
The
yeah.
concept of how to control a society, or how, not even control a society, but how a society, how humanity became what we are, which is to say, like, how did we surpass all other species and grow our brains as rapidly as we did and like innovate, etc., etc. It's because we were able to tell stories and get people to buy into them, essentially, which is how you can have a large collective of people being able to agree with one another and move in one direction. And unfortunately, somebody somewhere realized that that was an excellent tactic for controlling the entire world.
Yeah.
It shows the way, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know what it is about humans, but we are damn good at fucking shit up. Like at taking a good thing and making it bad. Like our road to hell paved with the best of intentions.
Yeah. Because when you think storytelling, like one thing I see a lot, like in my sessions, or I think about a lot, is how storytelling is a tool, full stop. Right?
Yes.
But I've not really thought of how that's true.
It's literally
It's
the
tool that
way
has brought us this
society
way.
brought
This
us where we
place,
are, and it's still being used. Look at social media now. Social media is a storytelling platform.
Oh, yeah,
That is what social media is. It's about the narrative. That's why Russia is constantly infiltrating social media and literally was able to, and I'm telling you, this is not conspiracy, literally was able to turn the tide of elections utilizing social media because of bots. Now people are a bit more aware of bots, especially because of AI, because now the AI bots are literally like, they're like, girl, like, come on.
It's also why, like, in Togo right now, social media has been restricted,
yes.
right? And
Look
every
at
time
China. Like, sometimes you're just
Even Burkina, honestly.
Yeah.
Kenya too.
Yeah, so like I think when the whole thing started with Burkina, there were like two sides, right? So there was like the Pan-Africanist who was so pro what he's doing, and he also wanted to really control the narrative of like what is happening with the country. So a lot of news channels, he he was like censored them. He was like, you're not allowed to talk about us, basically. And then so everything that's coming out is like from a select few. And people are like, oh no, he's spinning this narrative because what's going on is really not what we're being told. And on the other side, it's like, no, we're not trying to run your propaganda train for you guys to be saying bad things. And it's only seeming like bad things that are coming out. So, I mean, take from it what you will, but like the narrative is not always the narrative, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. And I think also it also boils down to who gets to decide
What
who gets to decide which stories get to the forefront and
that's
which one
such a
goes
good
to the bench.
Yeah.
Because erasure is violence.
Yes, and I think it's something that I've learned in my practice, basically, like because curation is literally sitting down and saying, "Hey, this should be what we should look at." Out of all these stories, and then forget everything else. And then now when you look at like the issue of like let's say like not even just like arts, right, but like communication, like politics, the reigning ideology that is put at the forefront decides where the society is going to go.
exactly.
And if we bring it down to gender and sexuality, you realize that I think what was it? There's this I read it recently about the colonial law that talks about
The penal
unnatural
code.
unnatural
knowledge. Unnatural carnal knowledge, yes.
specifically, right?
Oh,
Yeah, and then
Can
like,
you
wait,
can you
yeah.
explain it for
Let's
that for
take it
us
back.
for the girlies that don't?
carnal knowledge is such a phrase.
So, like on the legal side of things. So currently in Ghana,
Currently.
we don't have a bill like homosexuality is not illegal. It is not
Yeah,
illegal.
yeah,
though.
no,
So people
it's
should stop
not.
using that to come and beat people. It's not illegal yet.
it's only get to be gay. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
illegal to
to-
do gay things.
No, it's very legal. Okay, it's not legal, but it's not illegal too.
Yeah, the law says nothing about it.
Yeah, so leave us.
Leave gay people alone. So they can do their gay stuff.
Yeah. What we currently have in the Ghanaian Criminal Code is that's the thing about starting sentences like that, right? You
Yeah.
have to be very exact.
Yeah.
Go and read it. Also, before that, right? I was just keeping it to mind to say that it is a negotiation of power and a use of power, how stories are told or what we get to hear, right? Because my dad was saying about how when he was in school, they used to give them the Constitution, right? I have never been given a Constitution in my life.
Yeah, me
Yeah, right. And then the NCCE, National Civic Communication.
Yeah, communications. and things like that.
It's 4 letters, and the 4 letters. No, I don't know
NCC.
how you arrange them, but
Yeah.
it means National Civic Education Committee. So
NCEC, that sounds...
no, it's NCCE
It's NCC.
too.
I know it's NCC.
They are the body arm
They are supposed to be going around
telling
like,
us what to
information.
do and just giving us information
Yeah, like
about the law, where to
Yeah.
get redress, when elections are coming, your rights, stuff like that. It's not very active anymore because it's very important for I don't say current government, but yes, the current
The political
series
class.
of government,
The
the
current
political
bipartisan
class, yes.
parties,
That
yes.
more and more people do not know how to exercise their
Their
rights
rights.
and responsibilities, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So back to the current law that we have, there is a law that criminalizes unnatural carnal knowledge,
Yeah.
but that's it. And so unnatural carnal knowledge, and that can be interpreted to mean a wide range of things, but that refers to sex that is not penile to vaginal.
Then everybody... Sorry.
Exactly.
For real,
And everybody-
like jail.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Everybody
y'all come
They're
out.
all going.
Like,
Yeah.
Oral, you're going.
Yeah.
Anal, you're going. All of
know,
us.
Isn't kissing... Like, wouldn't kissing then even
Yes,
be like...
if you
yes.
give hand job in the car on campus, follow us.
Jail.
Yeah.
Jail.
It's all natural, right? But that's the thing about laws. When they are set like that, their interpretation can be very wide, which is
Yes.
why you need like follow-ups to clearly define what
Yeah.
What
happens.
is, yeah.
And that's what this bill is being proposed as, right? A clarification. And a clarification to protect our proper family values. But then that's another myth, right? Because like, what do you mean proper family? We come from the same family.
Ooh, yeah, no.
Do you know my house?
Yes,
Ooh.
yes. What are
See.
proper family?
And also,
Yes.
even the concept, like, okay, if you're going to do this through a religious lens of Christianity, like, then you need to make divorce illegal.
But
Right.
again, Ghana is not even a religious. We are
Exactly.
we are a secular country, and people.
Our
very secular country.
like, we're not, unlike the US, which is a Christian country, Ghana is not.
No, we're not.
You said
Because
something.
I'm even thinking, like, didn't
civic education.
Right.
What did you say? What are you
The
whispering?
NCCE is there's a 4 inside there.
Okay.
So National Commission for Civic Education. That's what's
Oh,
confusing.
that's why there's
Yeah.
okay.
Like I was gonna say, even our like culture, like I swear kings used to have like 5 wives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the polygamy
Oh, yeah.
of it
That-
all,
the-
which in of
the
itself
po-
is also a very...
But that's not that's
Again,
not
like, if I had
Christian
co-wives,
family values, right?
No,
To be
it's
fair,
not.
yes.
If I had co-wives and we're in the same house,
What do you think is...
what do you think we are doing? What do you think we are doing?
So
Let's
there
watch The
is some
Handmaid.
research that says that in Cape Coast,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be specific, in Cape Coast, before colonialism, there was a practice where the man would marry more wives, but then also the wife gets to choose who
Yes.
the next wife would be.
Sister wives.
Yes.
And then most of the time, these sister wives used to end up becoming alone. And if the man dies, they
They will take care of
continue
each
the
other.
marriage. No, they continue the
continue.
marriage.
Aw.
The 2 women continue the marriage, and they are known as married.
That's
There
cute.
must have been a lot
Which
of
makes
mysterious
sense, right?
deaths.
Because then that way,
Wow.
I can also imagine. No, it's fine. I can also imagine, like, okay, now you're getting out of hand. We put a little mathematical equations into the food, and then we get the house.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to stay in line.
Yeah.
But that also makes a lot of sense because again, marriage is not for us as Ghanaians. Marriage is not like a man marries a woman. It's a union between
Yeah,
families,
it's
right?
yeah.
And when it comes to a system, it's a contract that is binding.
Yes.
And if it's a contract with multiple people, like any other contract, it shouldn't be nullified simply because one person has exited.
Yeah.
Exited, you go on. So the contract is still there. There's still children to take care of. There's still property to like. So that makes a lot of sense.
And I'm also thinking of like the idea
Yeah,
of what
that would
is
stress me out.
proper.
though. I'm not gonna lie, that would stress me the fuck out. Oh my god.
What?
So I feel like we've definitely been speaking to the demographic of people who agree with us. And I mean, I do want to part of this conversation against what you said about this concept of like speaking to people and like how do we facilitate a conversation with people who don't agree with a lick of what we've just said. And it's not to say like we need to facilitate that type of education, but just based on where we are and how prevalent it is, we are the minority. Like, you know what I mean? And so there is, and I know there are people out there who are not necessarily, you know, a lot of it is how they were brought up, which is to say they themselves are not actively homophobic or like, but they, and those are numbers we need to come and swing with us to this side. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like, how do we bring this topic to where it's like, guys, God, it's too nuanced. Like, you can practice your religion and not have to be homophobic. You can, in fact, you know, let people live. Like, you do not need to be pushing for a bill that literally violates the human rights of so many people in this country.
And your human rights
as well. God,
Should we kick it off? I think a good way to do what you're asking is like, should we put a premise of like what they say and then dispel it? Do you understand what I'm saying? So like we've kind of done that a little bit with like the Christian values. So it's like, oh, being gay is unchristian, whatever. And then we spoke through it. What is another thing that is like the common misconception about like, oh, like, yeah, you know, those gay people, you know?
I feel like I worked with some people in the past who you know, for lack of education, my people perish. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. And I think, unfortunately, our school systems don't facilitate the kind of critical thinking that is necessary for someone to be an agent of their own life, which is to say, to form their own perspectives and be very analytical about the things that they're seeing and how they are being controlled by the media, by the government, by their church. And I think for a lot of people, when they hear that they're being controlled, it's you know, it feels like an attack on their character, because they're like, obviously not, like I live my day to day, like I'm able to do what I want to do. But I think helping people to know that control isn't about your ability to get up in the morning and like fry your egg and drink your Milo. Like, it's about the things you believe. It's about how your value system is created, framed. It's about the things you see on, I mean, even just social media. It's about what the news portrays to you. It's about how your social circle moves based on what those collective beliefs are, and how, as an individual, it behooves you, regardless of what you believe, to look at those things and to question them, not because you are going off of the premise that they're wrong, but just based on the premise that you never have ever in your life. And obviously, it's not, I'm not going to sit here and be like, question the fact that we have to drink water. There are some things you don't like. I mean, feel free to not to drink water. You will surely see the effects, you know what I mean? But we're talking about more sociological factors, for lack of a better word, or variables. So yeah, I think just hammering that point of agency, or like trying to, get that in there.
I think we should ask ourselves why we drink water, actually.
Fair enough.
I think it's also a form of a kind of muscle to question things. It's not
Exercise,
as a culture like ours, where we are taught to like memorize things more than understand. It will take a lot of effort to come to a place where we confidently ask hard questions, because the answers will not be nice.
And also our relationship to authority.
Yes, right. So maybe start from wondering why you drink water.
True.
And wondering why why girls have to cut their hair to go to school, or why we don't give admission to people that have dreadlocks, right?
And why in certain institutions those laws are not the same.
Yes.
Classism, elitism, nepotism,
Plentyisms.
Yeah.
And I think the format of like asking a myth and trying to dispel it is good.
Curiosity.
But one of the earlier questions you had asked was, how can we preach to not the choir? Preach to who is not the choir. And I think that's where people like Kukua's work are very, you get it. The work that people like Kuukua do are very important, because whilst we are here thinking we know enough, and I say it very often that I'm not going to argue with a man, right? Like, I'm not arguing with a friend. Like, I will not do it, right? But I really appreciate people that will, and people that do.
Yeah.
Because
so do.
Because it's hard and it's not easy. But at the same time, there's people that need certain rhetorics and certain perceptions to thrive, so that they can continue to consolidate power. So we can think that, I've heard like my team say stuff like, the younger generation is going to be more liberal and they're going to understand because they have social media. That's not true. Because they have social media, there are other forms of storytelling on there that is actively pushing certain concepts, certain things. And so it's very important that we simply exist and that we can be seen, but also that our stories are being told, right? Like earlier in this conversation, we said about how storytelling is a tool and people are using it. And so we might also use it for our greater good, the actual greater good, right? Then there's also what? Yeah, storytelling. Then if visual storytelling, right? There's actual storytelling, visual storytelling. And which is why I know in the beginning, we might have seemed very critical of people that are in like current social media wave of men dressing up as women to do slapstick comedy. And yeah, it's not the best thing. But what it still does is that it's putting the conversation of queerness one way or another in the general public, because they have reach. Right?
Yeah.
And
to be fair,
my mom is obsessed with them. Like, and she's like there's so many. She knows all of maybe not all of them, but she knows like a good number of them and their backstory, because there is a backstory, right? And while the backstories might not seem like a definitely queer thing, it's reminding people of a time where we had like the concert parties, or a time where the traveling troops were more normalized and more accepted, or rather of a time where bigotry and hatred towards different forms of expression was not as normalized, right? Because it's not, Chifa was saying earlier, it's not a thing of like, oh yeah, we accepted gayism then.
Yeah.
It really was a thing of like, there wasn't hatred towards different forms of expression and living. And that's what is important. And I think that's also why, or when you look at that, and when you said about how Ghanaians generally are not a very confrontational people, right? And so we are, if like the ASIC basic skill where 7 is neutral, we need, that's not a very good example. But we're shifting from the neutral to violence, and we're not
Yeah.
realizing it. So we need
Safety.
more forms of visibility and storytelling as much as possible to shift us back. If like we shouldn't go back to neutral, right? But if
Yeah.
not to progressive, then back to neutral.
Yeah.
Because we can't go to violence.
I think what you said is like both of you were saying is so like poignant. And that thing of like critical thinking, I think some people don't even like you were saying, some people don't even know how to critical think, right? And the questions that you might want them to ask themselves, it's like it's not even come to their head. I think one form of like it's not microactivism, but just one form of activism is Ghanaian egos. We have an ego when it comes to these certain types of conversations. And I think sometimes the best way to go about it is not so much like I'm going to tell you what it is maybe giving the leads for them to question themselves, right? So if they make a remark and they'll be like, oh, why do you think that? Let them explain themselves into like, why do they think that? Gentle parenting them into like even having that conversation
But
with
only
themselves.
within your capacity.
Within your capacity. But
That's
like
such a true but funny like.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Right?
You
Like
have
the
to
whole
gentle
Ghana, like,
parent the
yeah.
racists and the homophobes and I know it's such a crazy concept.
Because sometimes,
yeah.
like, I would just like in certain situations, like, I will drop the question, not as like me and you are gonna have a dialogue, but let me just drop the question. So maybe if it behooves you, like, you think about it and like you come to the conclusion yourself without me. But like, I think, yeah, giving that lead to question the normalities of like what you've grown up with, even on like the levels of like water and everything. It's like it's just a starting point, really.
But I will say also on that point, you know, the concept of critical thinking and analysis, like I know very strong in my heart that I was taught those things. Like we literally had theory of knowledge. We literally had the, you know, like even in literature, you have the critical reading or, you know what I mean? Like those things, like you literally are taught to look at a text, watch a movie, perceive a debate, like perceive anything, and then have to come up with your own conclusions about things. Like we were not taught to chew and pour. And I feel like a way to even, sorry, there's multiple things in my head, but there's a way to even sort of at least bring some awareness to the average Ghanaian on this conversation is sometimes not even through like gender and sexuality, it's through like economy and politics, you know, because the same institutions that are harming queer people are also harming you because those are the same institutions that are not pushing forward the proper resources into local schools in order for your curriculum to educate you, because low-key, it's a form of control. Whether they're doing it consciously or subconsciously, it behooves them for you to not be able to think critically so that you can't form opinions about things that matter, so that you are essentially a sheep and can do their bidding when it comes to going to the voting polls and choosing who, and even the types of discourse you have on social media about how akumsin or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even being able to go out and protest, exercise your rights to protest. Like you said, reading the Constitution, for God's sakes. Like, what do we teach now in social studies? I went to a DB school. All I know is Western history. They taught us Ghana history for like 2 years, grade 7, grade 8. I am 28 years old now, and I can tell you about Alsace-Lorraine. I can tell you about World War II. I can tell you how Hitler died. I don't actually remember. I couldn't tell you all the different republics of Ghana. I couldn't tell you who was our fourth president. All of these things that I know are actually more so just from like being a Ghanaian than being taught. You know what I mean? But the Western history there, I know it back to front, compare and contrast the differences between, you know what I mean? And so I just think it's really important for Ghanaians to recognize that even if you're not an advocate of queer communities or whatever the heck, recognize that the institutions that you back are not backing you. So
I think you all said something, and I actually want you guys to speak to it. Because at the start, you said, let's talk about how these systems and these like institutions, it's not just for us. It's just not just for queer people. It's about you.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of like homophobic people will look at things and they'll be like, why do I have to think about this? Because it works for me. Like, you know, but like let's speak to it about like it's actually about you. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
It really is. I like when you said maybe it's not even about taking it from like a queer community organizing activist point of view, just like an economy type thing, right? Because if the bill is passed, if it's passed on the currency that it is in, it's going to affect like landowners, house owners, because you will get imprisoned if you rent to people that are perceived as queer, right? Another thing like perceived, which is a very funny thing because like Ghanaian men have ass, like Ghanaian
they have
men are
buttocks.
such perceived. We're all going to go, right? So
Because when you said that, I was really going to say, like, if we even look at the bill,
Right.
that they, you remember the first
the
draft,
first one, yeah.
the first draft, even the first draft, that went to Parliament over and over. They debated it so much that they had to take a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah.
And what we even have now, still, it ends up criminalizing people who are not even
Yeah,
doing
Not
it
actually
for
gay
themselves. Like,
themselves, yeah.
so what? And I think it's the part that is funny, the one that you have to go and tell.
Yes, you have a duty to report,
yeah,
right?
you have a duty to report. So if you do not exercise that duty,
and it's a very wide duty
You
to
can be
report.
criminalized.
So sister
Yes.
Deborah said, if
Listen,
you won't like,
that is
Yeah.
so wicked.
are you going to report your child? Like, are you going to
Yeah, I
report?
said-
No,
if
not
you
even.
don't report your child now, you
You
are
are
in breach of
going
the
to
law.
jail.
But not
Yeah.
even that. You know how wicked people are. You've come and parked in their place. They don't
Exactly.
like. Hello, they're gay.
But you see,
Like-
and it's such a sinister thing though, because it's like we've seen this happen. This was Nazi Germany.
Yes.
They told people to report illegal Jews or whatever. Like, why are we perpetuating systems that we claim to abhor?
Yeah.
But
Claim.
Ghana, we don't even claim, boo. Ghana government. We claim.
Yeah, but yeah, so like in the concept of like even being perceived as gay, like, and even if we think about it, even in like the concept of like gender, like what the gender we perceive people to be, like, what is feminine gender, and how do you perceive that someone is a woman or a man
Exactly.
based on what you see? Because we have these markers, which is not just on like social performance, but also not even just how you look, but also based on like your biology as well. And for a lot of people's biology does not match what you see on the outside. So now, how do you sit down and say that, okay, so then it was why I say what? They're saying all these people who don't fit in that category should go with.
But that's the thing, right? Like I remember a few years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, when the new prisons were built. And then I was like, we shouldn't be letting individual people or companies build prisons, because then it's like, then this becomes capitalism, right?
Yeah.
And then if you have that system and then you have laws like this, which are so wide and so draconian and don't make a lot of sense, then what's next, right?
Yeah.
Then what's next? Because you're saying something earlier about how people would utilize bills like these and this bill to just be harmful and violent
Yeah.
generally, right? And I don't like, you've packed at my house. I don't like that. So I'm going to report you to the police.
Yeah.
And to what end, right?
I think
when do we stop? Like,
It would
just
look
doing-
like the semi like the American prison systems, where in like minority neighborhoods they're just arresting people for minor crimes and they're doing years and
Yes.
years, and that's what it would look like here.
Yeah, the rich would be protected and everyone else
Yeah.
is free for all,
Facts.
pretty much. And you should be angry about that. Yeah, wait, I was gonna say something. I forgot.
Anyway,
But I meant
talking about
okay.
the prison. You remember when we made a joke we made about, since the church is opening the prison for the government, they're gonna have all the queer people. They're gonna send the kids to the church. The
Yes.
prison.
Yes. No, at this point, that's that plan, right? Like,
What's the
it's just, the church that I was referring to
Church
was
of
built by the the prison. This thing I'm talking about, no, the Church of Pentecost had built. Wait, was it the actual
The
church? or like-
church built a
The Church
prison?
of Pentecost built a prison
the elders.
facility and donated it
It's
to the government.
Yes. Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then so
that's
there was
like
this
the
running
new
joke that
age
if the
of-
bill passes, all the gays that the
'Cause
church
they are
is
the most
funding
invested in the bill.
So now they built a prison so that the government can now take, the gays
And
to
put
the
them there.
prison.
Because
Do you know how stupid that is? Because are you gonna do a gender-based jail? So you're telling me you're gonna put all the gays,
No.
all the gays in one cell?
That is going to be gay vacation.
Thank
Imagine
you.
you've been arrested and you sent to prison, and then you go there and you see your husband.
Hey,
or your
you see your
boyfriend,
crush, like,
or you see your crush, or you see your ex.
No, but the premise of that is haunting because the concept of a church doing that, like, even, like, first of all, that's where your tithe went.
Exactly.
They could have built a hospital.
Yeah.
And
They
that's why it's
put
Bruh.
all their
problematic, right?
resources into
Into
a
that.
jail
It's given Handmaid's Tale.
for a bill that has not even been passed.
Yet,
Yeah.
right? And that is why it's cause also like it's the first of a possible series of very problematic
Because
things.
Action Chapel
Yeah.
got money too. I'm sure they.
Everybody's going to build. Everybody's going to
Build
a
a
prison. And like you're
prison.
saying, it would look very similarly to like the American system, where because then now the prisons are full already. Now the current number of prisons we have are full, and the
Are full
government can't
already.
take care of them, right? So you're going to pay for someone to run these facilities, like semi-private boarding
Yes.
schools, right? So semi-private prison, and so they are going to charge the government per head.
Yeah.
And if I want money, you have to have a lot more heads. And then again, it becomes a class thing, a class issue, because I can afford a lawyer. Okay, not me. Okay, me. But I mean,
A lawyer can
generally,
be afforded.
Yeah.
by some people, but not by many other people. And
Yeah.
currently, lots of people that are already in the prisons are people who were not able to afford lawyers or were
Exactly.
not able to afford the law system. And it's just going to like duplicate itself in these ways.
Some people have not even gone through the law system,
But they're in prison.
but they are in prison.
Yes, they have been doing terms.
And
Undecided
and
terms.
police
You've
enforcement.
been
Oh my
arrested
god.
and you've been sent to jail because the police station
Can't hold you
can't
past
hold you.
72 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
past
something
that.
like that.
Your case has not been sent to court,
Court.
or has been sent to court and you have not been called. People are doing years in a situation like this.
Yeah, a lot of people get lost in the
And
system
that's
that
tax.
way.
That's tax money. Like you're
That's tax money.
holding someone with no legal basis and wasting taxpayer money
Yeah.
on a conceived criminal who is likely some random pedestrian who pissed off a police officer and just ended up in a holding cell and has
Yeah.
been there for the past 3 years. And so to the point of police as the disparity between how they go so hard. Look at how they shut down the headquarters of that LGBTQ center some years
yeah.
back.
The safe
community
Look
house.
at
Yeah.
the energy that the police put into this shit. And then when you actually want to go to the police for serious issues, such as rape, murder, arson, what happens?
Yeah.
The bureaucracy, the level of incompetence, the slowness, and this is what we're talking about. Like, people need to be angry, and you don't have to be a queer advocate to be angry at the fact that something that genuinely doesn't affect your life in any way, shape, or form, someone's choice of who they love, doesn't affect your life in any way. J your eyes. If you're in the mall and someone's like literally, your eyes can move from left to right, up, down. Like they're they work very well. At least if they do. You can J your eyes from that. But someone breaking into your house and robbing you, and the police not taking that seriously and taking you through a whole loop of years of bureaucracy, court system, this, that. Especially when you are not within the socio-economic system that allows for things to move quickly. And then you're going to put your energy into backing a bill that literally has nothing to do with you, but you don't even understand your constitution.
Yeah.
Guys, wake
Open
up.
your eyes. Open your eyes. My thing is, why are you so bothered? So, should we give our final thoughts?
I guess so.
Michaela?
What's our
Final
final
thoughts.
thoughts? I guess that would be that there's a lot of diversity to the human experience and to just the way human beings present themselves. They have always been. There always will be. I think that is what makes us humans, and we should embrace that instead of be so bothered by it. We should embrace that, but also to acknowledge that people deserve access, full stop, but also access to the same responsibilities. Hey, people deserve access to the same resources, the same resources, but to the same spaces of access, right? So you need to be able to enter the place where you can actually access whatever book it is, whatever like laptop it is, or the internet, stuff like that. And there's no reason why we should bar people from freely living their lives, freely being the best versions of themselves, freely being happy, actualizing based on how they look or based on how we think they look or how we think they act or exist or organize or commune with other people. That should not be the use of our energy, to be honest. Like, we need better internet in the whole of Ghana, and I shouldn't have to travel 2 hours every day, right?
Affordable
Let's fight
housing.
that.
We need clean food, clean water.
See, running water, like lots.
Yeah, constant
Hospitable
lights.
beds.
Yeah.
Affordable
Hospital
education.
beds. What is hospitable? But yes, hospitable beds in the hospitals.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
People are lying on floors and mats and
that. Yeah.
stuff.
Kuukua.
And to stop galamsey, but yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and any other forms of it.
My final words is, I want people, everyone should think about the life they live and understand that there is something wrong with this system or way of life we are living. And instead of just saying, you know what, let's just continue with it, or let me go and find my own way in a way that doesn't bother me, we should start thinking of how do we move to an entirely new system that fits us.
Yes.
Instead of just like putting, I like what we've been doing this, bandage stuff, like that's why we plaster something here, like, but the hole is still there and it ends up somewhere else. The entire thing is the problem. I'm not saying, let us sit down and, hey, let's rethink it. Why are we living this life that we are living? Okay, our parents lived, they gave us this life. Okay, it's not working for us. How do we go about it? What new ways of living can we actually have?
How do we move?
Yeah.
How do we move from that? And then based on that going forward, we would realize that, there's the need to coexist with everybody. Not just even just the people, but also like our environment, like our nature. Like everything in totality. So please, rethink your life.
You had that. Rethink your life. Do you have a final thought or we wrap up?
You don't have a right to infringe on someone's human rights, someone's basic human rights. In the same way, no one has the right to infringe on your human rights. So if you have an issue or a problem with someone that you sit down to think about your life actually has nothing to do with you, take a moment, take a breath, and think of a better world.
And on that note, I would say, I think we should stop being so selfish and think beyond ourselves sometimes. Think about our thoughts, think about how things are affecting not just us as a person, but the people around us and like people you might not even know that it's affecting. Let's just have a little more care and kindness and thoughtfulness. On that note, thank you to Michela and Kuukua. Thank you. What did you say?
Let's clap ourselves.
Clap for yourselves. You can catch Kukua's current gallery show at the Burge Gallery in Busua, and it ends in September.
It's 8th September.
8th of September. So if you're down that way or if you want to travel that way, you can catch that. Michela, do you have anything to plug?
No. Be a good human being, to be honest.
Yeah.
That'll make me very happy if you're a good human
If you're
being.
not sure
Drink
what that
water.
is, ask
Yeah.
Google.
Do you guys want to share your handles or like you're not trying to do social media?
Oh, you can follow me. I don't do anything there, so I don't know what you got.
Kuukua, do you want to?
private.
My
Your account
Instagram is Decolonising.
Oh, but follow my work Instagram. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Follow Joma Queens GH, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Learn
do.
about consent, about body autonomy, feminist resources, just like cool things, cool people. So yeah.
They're both doing a lot of really, really cool and important work. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. Thank you to the GCR team. Follow them on social, Gold Coast Report everywhere, and follow Sankasa at Sankasa Podcast on Instagram, Sankasa on TikTok. And thank you so much for joining us. Bye.